to proceed in that way. So all distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you, and let me say what a huge honor it is to be here with you in person today. At this moment, I can say that I have been in Dominica for a little more than 24 hours, and for the first time since I was appointed to represent the people of the European Union in the Eastern Caribbean states and Barbados. 24 hours is not nearly enough even to grasp the reality of a country, to understand its challenges and to admire its beauty. Still, I am extremely grateful for being able to be here, to meet you all in person, to catch a glimpse through the car window at the amazing sceneries of the nature island, and to see with my own eyes the fruits of our cooperation and partnership. Like this morning in Castle Bruce, we are here in Jimmit for a handover ceremony, and I am humbled and honored by your invitation and by your hospitality. But Honorable Prime Minister, what we are handing over to you and through you to the Jimmit community is not a shelter. This shelter reflects the needs of the local community and your political will to respond to this need. This shelter was built by a Caribbean company according to locally accepted highest standards by Dominican people for Dominican people. What I'm really handing over, what we are really handing over to you and to the Jimmit community is a message from the people of Europe, a message of understanding and friendship, of support and cooperation, a message of common efforts for a common, safer future. If offering this community a reliable shelter may seem a small step towards the resilience that we all seek, we should not forget that shelters are here to help to preserve the only irreplaceable possession a person can have, their life. And as long as we live, there is hope. Coming from Poland and having known both need and fear, though not caused by nature, but by our own kind, I dare say that I understand what it is to be powerless and disarmed in front of a force that seems invincible and eternal. But we are united against it, and we managed to overcome it, and here I am, standing in front of you. That invincible and eternal force is a mere memory. I am also convinced that step by step, building gradual resilience, supporting each other, we will also overcome the destructive effects of climate change. It will take longer maybe than it took us to cause it, but that time will come, and I am certain of it. The European Union have been standing and will continue to stand together with the people of Dominica during these challenging moments. We will continue to work together for resilience and climate action through the programs we have or prepare with our regional and national partners in the Caribbean. Honorable Prime Minister, I cannot thank you enough, as well as your team, for the excellent job done under this component of our budget support program. The COVID-19 crisis did not make things easier, but still, the results are impressive and here in front of our eyes. I want to commend the efforts of all actors involved, the Office of Disaster Management, NH Construction Company, Sorrow Consultants, Ambassador Barron and the Creed team, to name but a few. Thank you. I'm also grateful to the communities of Jimmit, who have been supportive and welcoming to this project. Lastly, I would like to thank also my team and their excellent counterpart in your government, the Office of the National Authorizing Officer, and particularly to Ms. Carleen Roberts, to whose efforts and hard work we owe the results we see today. Thank you for allowing me to be part of these beautiful ceremonies and the special moments, and for the strong partnership that we have built and we will continue to build together. Thank you.
the Minister for National Security and Home Affairs and the parliamentary representative of the Maho constituency is pleased to address you at this time.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Good afternoon. Your Excellency, Charles Sovereign and Mrs. Sovereign, our Prime Minister, Honorable Roosevelt Scarlett. I also want to recognize in our mix the Senior Minister, Honorable Austria, and head of the delegation of the European Union to Barbados and Eastern Caribbean countries, OECS and CARICOM. Thank you again for being in the most dynamic and beautiful constituency, the Maho constituency. I also want to recognize other cabinet colleagues, staff members of the Ministry of Home Affairs and National Security before that, and of course, in a special and particular way, we cannot forget Ms. Roberts for your leadership thus far. I also want to, in a special way, recognize all the most distinguished people here today. I saw earlier on the Permanent Secretary and also the acting Financial Secretary. I'm not sure I forgot. And of course, members of the media fraternity and people of the Maho constituency. Maho, good afternoon. I was debating, Honorable Prime Minister, with your permission, in what capacity should I speak here today? Whether I should speak in the capacity as a minister with responsibility for the time, or should it be a totally direct day? But upon reflection, oh, yes, thank you very much. A very bright person. I also want to recognize Father Thomas, thank you very much for your very instructive prayer and your friendship and guidance over the years. To my family also, and to myself, God bless you. Earlier today, we were at Casabras, commissioning another facility of a similar type. Just hours later, this afternoon, we're here today in the most spectacular and fascinating constituency, the Maho constituency, and the community of Jimmit. Commissioning yet another regional shelter / resource center. Permit me at this juncture, therefore, to express my gratitude on behalf of the people of the Maho constituency, and in particular Jimmit, to our Prime Minister. And why do I say that? When the whole idea was conceptualized to construct regional shelters in the various localities where you have a number of vulnerable communities, as a minister then I said I wanted one. The Prime Minister could have said no, put it somewhere else. But of course, recognizing the need, therefore, and one was actually placed in Jimmit. And it happens to be the biggest of the three, that is to say, Layo, Casabras, and the Maho constituency, Jimmit. But to say further, this facility has a national outlook also. And it also seeks to assist people who actually are in similar vulnerable circumstances, like those of us from Campbell. And of course, as you know, there's a history with the Maho constituency because of the manner in which it's located. We have natural water courses traversing the heart of many communities, namely Kingfield, you have Massac, you have Belfast, in Tyrone, you have a ravine that is very, very dangerous when it rains heavily. And how can we forget the people of Campbell? Whenever it rains heavily, I cannot sleep at night because of the situation in Campbell. But your government is very purposeful in its planning and in its thinking. So if something were to arise by way of an adverse weather system, I can sleep with some more comfort that there'll be a specific location, properly designed, where people who have found themselves in those circumstances can find a safe location, and that is progressive thinking. But bear with me a while, I don't want to be too long today. I was doing some reflection. And you know, as you grow older, you ponder even more. You see, age brings wisdom. That may be true sometimes. I was reflecting on the progress we have made thus far as a people. And it dawned on me that maybe we have gotten complacent to an extent, and we're taking a number of things for granted. Why do I say that? There are many of us who are part of the real universe, the real Dominican. But there are many of us who belong to an alternate universe. Why do I say that? And some of us buy into some of the stories from authors whose stories are predicated on falsehood and misinformation. One of the renditions that we hear commonly, nothing is happening in Dominica by way of disaster preparedness. Nothing is happening in Dominica on a broader social, economic landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, friends all, what is happening today before our very eyes, isn't that something? Magatanzo. Right. And that wonderful exhibit before your eyes, I call it an exhibit. Because an exhibit not only demonstrate what we have done in disaster mitigation and preparedness, but it also stands as an exhibit of the hard work the government continues to do in the continuum of development of this beautiful country. Since the passage of Hurricane Maria, we can recall that 227% of our gross domestic product was wiped away in hours. The best experts of the world said it was impossible for Dominica to have recovered in under 20 years. What was not properly estimated was firstly the leadership and the resolve of Dominicans. That is what the global community at the time did not properly estimate. 4 years thereafter, the gains that were made, I spoke with a member of the delegation today, Your Excellency, and he said to me, from another fact he gave me, I read it proudly, and he said to me, Mr. Minister, I'm so moved by the progress your country and your people have made over the years. This is someone who came years thereafter. And there are many of us who live in that reality on a daily basis who take the gains we have made for granted. 4 years after, my dear friends, this country, under the capable hands and safe hands of our Prime Minister, insofar as disaster preparedness is concerned, is stronger than ever. And that is significant, my dear friends. But there is something that we must take and put in the proper context, therefore. Yes, it takes planning to do many things. But, you know, in life, some of us want to be actors. But everyone is not blessed with that natural talent to act. You can act if you want. But it doesn't mean that you'll be a good actor. Also, many of us want to be leaders. It doesn't mean that we'll be great leaders. But the gains we have made and our ability to mobilize the requisite resources to invest in our disaster preparedness methods and to invest in other aspects of our development of the country has to be led by someone, by a prime minister. There can only be one prime minister at any one given time. And as we see the war unfolding in Ukraine, you can see how some people just emerge to the task. The leader that we have has that air of what we call gravitas that commands respect globally. And that is why we have been able to attract financing and to partner with you and to build two remarkable facilities. Dominica, maybe among the OECS catchment, would be one of the islands. We've purposely built regional shelters, hurricane shelters for our people. And that, in my view, tells a very serious story as our ability, insofar as our ability is concerned, to build this country, notwithstanding our limitation. So, Prime Minister, thank you very much for looking in the direction of the Maui constituency in many aspects. And I can say that those of us here can recall during the last election campaign when we spoke about the plans to construct a hurricane shelter / resource center. There were so many dissenting voices. And they were saying that would never have transpired. It is right there. And this facility is costing $18 million. And we'll be able to house 500 people. But I am also very much elated for the other potential that may emerge because we have a resource center component. And in my view, this resource center will be able to be used and will be very critical for empowerment activities, especially to attract our young people. I'm looking forward to seeing a number of programs in vocational skills, targeting our young men to be trained in electronics, computer science, and electrical wiring and construction. That is what the Labour Party is all about, my dear friends. And this facility is there. It's up to us to make maximum use and effective use of that wonderful facility. Ladies and gentlemen, over the years, because of what we have done, we have seen an increase in emergency shelter capacity throughout the country. In 2021, the shelter capacity in this country was 7,096. Now in 2022, it's 8,200, an increase of 1,004. That is progressive development, my dear friends. I want to, on behalf of the Office of Disaster Management and Government by extension, to really commend the almost 2,000 volunteers at the various community levels working with the Office of Disaster Management. I also want to highly commend, I just said so early on, because we are so prone to slides whenever you have heavy rain. But the communication and the synergies that have been able to be established between the ODM office and, of course, the Ministry of Communication and Works, I think is a very, very striking story. And it's important to plan and to preempt the possibility of an adverse event. And that is why we have been able to pre-position with the involvement of the ministry, in particular the Minister for Public Works, equipment in a timely fashion to mitigate against any severe disaster situation. So it's a holistic approach that we're taking to ensure that this country continues to proceed on the right track. As I try to migrate slightly into the Mao constituency as I close, and I'm thinking about the people of Campbell. And again, I want to express my gratitude, and I'm not sure if I'm too duva, sorry, too fast, for the Prime Minister's commitment to the people of Campbell. Campbell, after Sansouvé, Petit Soufrière, and Goudou, is one of the most vulnerable communities in Dominica. And I can recall in 2007, the Prime Minister and myself, after a very devastating disaster that transpired then, advised for relocation of the community. Today, in 2022, you're seeing, of course, a number of people are not ready to move. I want to say to you, if you go to the Labour Party manifesto, you will see this government's commitment to do just that. And I'm happy that we have begun the process of collecting the relevant information so that the people of Campbell can be relocated to a safer zone. That is my commitment, and that is the commitment also of the Dominica Labour Party administration. And I'm very much grateful for that, Honourable Prime Minister. We have seen, of course, over the years, a number of critical investment in the constituency. And I'm not here today to present a manifesto. I'm more or less here to actually celebrate what we've achieved thus far. Because the Mao constituency is part of a national exercise. Very soon we will see the commissioning of a brand new school, primary school in Mao. It's the only of its type in this country. There's no other school with that design in this country, costing $7.5 million in trying times. Again, Honourable Prime Minister, thank you very much for that. We have departed from a time when an era when, of course, the last school that was built in the 1970, thereabout, was funded by the Canadian government. But we have been able, for our own resources, to fund our own school. That, again, signals development in the right direction. We have a new health center that has actually surpassed what we had before. Health and wellness facility. And I'm here to announce, because in the many years ago, before I was born, and if I were not born yet, the Prime Minister was not born yet, because I'm well on it. Mao was part of the second health district in this country. Now that this constituency has emerged, and in the next 6 months, as you can see, people are gravitating for whatever reason towards the Mao constituency. Everybody wants to live in the Mao constituency. I'm confident by the next 6 months, we might surpass the Rosenhoff constituency in terms of population. So what we have seen over the years is a significant increase in the population size. And I'm happy that this government is thinking in terms of having Mau into its own health district, and that is very significant. So the days of sitting on the tents to wait for a doctor to come to Mau every 2 months, twice per month, is history. And thank you very much, Prime Minister, for that forward thinking. We have not closed our eyes on the community of Canefield. We gave a commitment, and the apartments have begun. Construction work has begun. In the first phase, again, I don't want to go out of the way, we're looking at 16 apartments, but they'll be the most spectacular apartments because you can see the airport, the Canefield Airport. You can actually see planes landing and see this majestic view of the sea. And you're going to have single-type apartments in this development. Again, thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. Rome was not built in a day, but Rome was built. And we're moving forward in the right direction with the right government in office and the right leader. Now, in the next couple of weeks, we shall be seeing some improvement works on the Mau Main Road. Not to the extent to what you're seeing in Massac. And I know up to today, I got a call from my colleague, I'm not going to call her last night, and said that Honorable Blackmore and Castanet trying something, and I was there in Massac. But the fact of the matter is, this government is forward-looking. And what is happening in Massac is a need. Because what we had was the collapsing of a culvert on the Eagle Highway, recognizing the fact that the population size in terms of density starts from Jimmit and extends into the southern part of the country. One of the main arteries of this country. So one can appreciate if that road were to be closed for 4 days and they have no alternate access, the country could be almost shut down for these 3 days. Because commerce and business and other aspects of people's life almost begin in that segment of the country. I'm sorry about that. So we're doing some corrective works, and I already have gotten, well, no objection from the Prime Minister, because I want to make a section with the tariffs concreted. And so that you can drive your vehicle without your vehicles getting dirty. And then I'm confident that we're going to get that. And it's a useful access road, not only for the people of Massac, but for Dominica. Because you know, traversing through Mau and Massac can be very, very difficult. And everybody knows in Massac and when they bypass. But thank you very much, Honorable Minister for Public Works. And thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister, who controls the money. If he says no, nothing can happen. But having said that, my dear good friends, we must not forget the 30 families who are now comfortably living in the Jimmit housing scheme. Another commitment that we made to the people of Mau, and we kept. I went there a couple of days ago on Mother's Day, and I was like a star. I said, what happened there now? Because the people appreciate the fact that we have given them peace of Dominica. My dear friends, today we are talking about a regional shelter. But this government has addressed every facet of our development as a people. And it's better to be in safe hands than to be in hands you do not know of. And today is not a political spectacle, but there are certain things that we have to just reference, and so we can take stock. So thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister, and our partner from the European Union, Ms. Roberts, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs, staff members of ODM, and the police for making today's activities a reality. There's no other place than Dominica. And there's a saying, make hay. If you see the sunlight, use the sunlight that you see. And you're seeing sunlight every day because of the hard work and planning and caring of this Labour Party administration. Continue to make hay while the sun is shining. I love you, and may the good Lord continue to bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Blackmore, for your passion and determination as a minister responsible for disaster management and your unwavering commitment to your constituency. We would like to call the Cicero Singers to perform for us now. Thank you, Cicero Singers, for this wonderful performance. The government of the Commonwealth of Dominica remains resolute in its commitment to make the Commonwealth of Dominica, as clearly articulated by the Honorable Prime Minister, the world's first climate resilience nation. Honorable Prime Minister, please come to the podium.
Thank you very much. Let me first of all recognize our President, His Excellency Charles Savre and Mrs. Savre, Honorable Reginald Ostry, our Senior Minister, Honorable Reverend Blackmore, our Minister for National Security and Home Affairs and Member of Parliament for the Maho constituency, my Honorable Cabinet colleagues, Your Excellency Madam Vasilevska, Head of Delegation of the European Union to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. We're very happy to have you here and your delegation at such a wonderful ceremony, or two wonderful ceremonies today. Ladies and gentlemen, friends all, and in a particular way, the wonderful people of the Maho constituency. For me, it's always a pleasure to be here in this constituency, a constituency that I have the greatest admiration and love for. I want to extend good afternoon to all of you here present, and in a very special way to welcome Your Excellency or the Ambassador once again, of course this time to Jimmit, a very vibrant residential community located on the west coast of our island. Jimmit, though, is the base for our country's disaster management, with the Office of Disaster Management, ODM, located here, as well as a newly erected structure to house the Met Office. The ODM is also the headquarters for the National Emergency Planning Organization, NEPO. Today, we officially commissioned a new facility in Jimmit, which will enhance our disaster mitigation and management efforts at both the community and national levels. This climate resilient emergency shelter is built at a cost of over $18 million and was planned to support our recovery and rehabilitation efforts in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria. And just to tell you that this structure has about just over 18,000 square footage covered. And it has a capacity in terms of water storage of 130,000 gallons. And it has a massive generator that can not only power this building, but power many parts of Jimmit as well. And so the intention there, and of course, you have showers for men and women, you have a massive kitchen, and a storage to store food supplies. And the intention is not for us to wait when a storm happens to run to get food and water. It will be fully stocked in the event of a disaster hitting us. No, the reality is, if we had this building there in 2017, I would have sought shelter at this building. So this is what we speak about when we talk about the emergency shelter. And so we're very grateful for this investment. And it aims to advance our goals to build back better following the devastating impact of the hurricane on every facet of our country's infrastructure, and to aid in our disaster risk reduction and preparedness initiatives. More specifically, the regional hurricane shelters are furthering our country's stated objective to develop smart infrastructure and processes to make us the world's first climate resilient country in the world. Climate resilient hazards, we are aware, are intensifying the world over, but more so in our region, where our location and small economies make us particularly vulnerable. In my first address to the world in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Maria, I spoke to the disproportionate consequences for developing countries like ours, who do not bear the same responsibility for creating the climate crisis we currently face. 5 years after Maria, I maintain the conviction that climate action must become a priority concern for our more developed counterparts, who must consider the significant economic, social, and environmental consequences for small states like ours with limited capacity for effective mitigation and adaptation. I will say to all of us here present that the European Union understands this and has been at the forefront of advocating the need for action where climate change is concerned. And we're very grateful for that moral support which you provide to us every single opportunity. And so, dear ladies and gentlemen, despite our disadvantages in Dominica, we are not leaving our fate up to chance. Since 2017, we have taken decisive action to realize our vision to build resilience within key sectors, with support from local stakeholders, as well as regional and international agencies and organizations, such as the European Union. Your Excellency, the Ambassador, I take this opportunity to put on record our profound gratitude to the European Union for responding to our need for resilient shelter to serve our communities and ensure that our people are better equipped to respond to natural hazards. The investment in the 2 facilities we commissioned today is significant, totaling over 33 million EC dollars. And so this is a huge investment and a huge contribution given to us by the European Union. Monies otherwise would have to loan to build this facility. At least 500 people of Jimmit and the neighboring communities now have access to a place of safety in the event of severe weather, which poses an immediate threat to their lives. Certainly, it enhances our capacity at the community level to manage current and future risk. It also falls in line with the goals of Dominica's Disaster Risk Reduction, DRR, framework to improve operational readiness at our shelters, strengthen shelter management systems, and improve on the capacity of vulnerable groups to address hazard impacts. The DRR also speaks to shelter and housing interventions to assist the vulnerable and the marginal. Across Dominica, we have seen the erection of resilient modern housing structures based on our belief that in the dynamic Dominica we are creating, all our people must have access to safe shelter. We are keeping true to our promise of 5,000 resilient homes for the people of Dominica, because we do not ever want our citizens to revisit the despair which resulted from displacement and homelessness after Hurricane Maria. We expect, however, that extreme weather events will continue to place great pressure on our efforts to keep our citizens safe and build a sustainable future for our children. To address the challenges associated with climate change, the government of Dominica has created a new broad framework which provides the guidelines for the achievement of our development goals in tandem with our resilience objectives by 2030. We have set out to enhance infrastructure resilience, promote sustainable human settlements and communities, and provide adequate and sustainable social protection systems with the ability to respond rapidly to the impact of shocks at the household and individual levels. To achieve our vision for a climate resilient future, we have invited the public and private sectors, civil society organizations, and our development partners to align their support with a singular national direction. And with the establishment of the Climate Resilience Execution Agency for Dominica CRID, we are implementing key capital projects and initiatives which are critical to building our national climate resilient infrastructure. Of course, I cannot speak of resilience without mentioning the work ongoing in the Roseau Valley to capitalize on our rich geothermal energy resources. Over the medium to long term, this will increase our country's self-reliance in the provision of electricity to households, businesses, and communities. Our climate-related policies and programs, therefore, are broad and far-reaching, targeting every sector of our society and aiming to positively impact every Dominican person. We are building on the foundation of sustainability we promised in December 2019 and increasing resilience in our communities to shocks, stresses, and uncertainty associated with climate change. The Jimmit Regional Emergency Center is aligned with these broad objectives to protect our citizens and secure a more hopeful future. We are keeping our word to the Dominican people. We are raising the bar for climate resilient action in our country and region, and I dare say indeed the wider world. This journey demands the resolve of every Dominican citizen, including those of you from this community who will benefit from this new emergency center. You must also shoulder some of the responsibility for advancing our climate resilience agenda. You can do this in small individual ways. Start by protecting this facility. Identify the best and most effective ways to make use of the amenities here to empower people, enhance their skills and create opportunities for personal and professional advancement. Once again, I thank the European Union for its support of our programs and initiatives which span various areas, including agriculture, climate action, and disaster risk reduction. I would like at this moment to invite all of us, with the exception of our dear ambassador, to stand and to applaud the European Union for its contribution to our country. Thank you very much. Madam Ambassador, what we give to you is sincerity as a friend, and a friend that you can count on when needed by the European Union. And Dominica remains committed to our relationship and advancing the national interests of the European Union. We give you that assurance. This is why we have been very consistent with our position on the Russia-Ukraine matter. We believe in peace, we believe in respect for integrity and sovereign integrity and territorial integrity of every country. And we do hope that we can see an end to this current crisis confronting Europe and indeed the world. So, Your Excellency, please accept the assurances of our highest regard as a people and government. And please convey the same to your colleagues at the European Union. Before I end, I also wish to commend the efforts of the National Authorizing Office, led by Ms. Colin Roberts, for the expert coordination of these two projects. And of course, the Ministry of National Security, led by our dear Minister, Honorable Reverend Blackmore, for its collaboration and support. I also want to recognize the quality of work by NH on these two facilities, and of course to Sorrel and others who provided the services, engineering services and oversight to this project. It's really amazing. And those of us who knew this place before it was constructed, I remember coming here with all sorts of challenges we experienced in the digging of the foundation and the challenges, and we were able to overcome those challenges because of the excellent coordination by all parties concerned. So where there is a will, there is a way. And we need to have this intrinsic enthusiasm and commitment to diligence in our country so that we can achieve great things for ourselves and for future generations. And so I want to congratulate the people of Jimmit and the surrounding communities on the commissioning of this new facility. It is for you we have done it. And so we urge that you take care of it, and we urge that we use it. We use it throughout the year, not only during the hurricane season, we use it throughout the year to enrich the community. And so, ladies and gentlemen, in the coming days, I will speak with the Dominican people in greater detail about our level of preparedness as the start of the hurricane season approaches. Let us pray for God's protection, and intensify our efforts at the individual and community levels to protect life and property in the event of disaster. And again, want to reiterate our profound, sincere gratitude to the European Union for this gift. We have a Christian and moral obligation to show gratitude for blessings received. And I want to say to us here in Dominica that notwithstanding the majority of the European states of developed states, they all have challenges too. And I'm sure that they could have found use for these funds in their own countries. But recognizing their commitment to ensuring that the global community can be given opportunity to enhance its prospects for its own independence and economic well-being and social well-being, they have been able to reach out to us in Dominica. And so I would like to say, as I've said, something, some naming of this building so that current and future generations can be reminded of the contribution of the European Union to us here in Dominica, and to always say thank you to the European Union. And so, madam, if we had riches, we would have given you some of it. Well, all we have here in Dominica is love. And we give you, and it is the greatest gift of all. You know, so, and it is worth more than money in the bank. And so we give you all our love here in Dominica. And please convey this to our friends across the Atlantic. May God bless us here in Jimmit and Dominica. May God bless our wonderful country, Dominica. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for your sterling leadership and support in advancing our national resilience agenda. Thank you so much, sir. At this time, we would like to invite the ambassador to symbolically hand over the keys of this facility.
I think I stand on the other side, so it's different from this morning.
Okay.
Again, thank you to our friends for this scheme. We shall open the doors very soon. To all of you here in Jimmit and surrounding community. Thank you very much.
At this time, we would just like to present Mrs. Savre, wife of the President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, with the bouquet. thank you, Your Excellency, and Mrs. Savre, for gracing us with your presence at the two events today. Additionally, we would like to give a small token of appreciation to Ambassador
That's so beautiful. Thank you very much.
I would like to now call Mr. Fitzroy Pascal, National Disaster Coordinator, to give the vote of thanks.
Your Excellency Charles Savre, President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and Mrs. Savre, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, Honorable Reginald Ostry, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing, Honorable Rayburn Blackmore, Minister for National Security and Home Affairs, and Parliamentary Representative for the Mahu constituency, other Honorable Members of Cabinet, Your Excellency Malgorzata Wazuldiska, Head of Delegation of the European Union to Barbados, the Eastern Caribbean countries, OECS, CARICOM, CARIFORUM, and her delegation, Her Excellency Francine Baron, CEO of CREED, Ms. Karen Prevost, Cabinet Secretary, Ms. Joanne Commodore, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of National Security and Home Affairs, other Permanent Secretaries, Mr. Daniel Carbon, Chief of Police, Ms. Marjorie Carlin Roberts, National Authorizing Officer for the European Development Fund, Mr. Mickey Fako, NH International, Mr. Alistair Grell, Sorrel Consulting Limited, staff of the NAO, staff of the ODM and the Ministry of National Security and Home Affairs, Monsignor Eustace Thomas, members of the media, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Effective implementation of disaster risk reduction measures reduces the impact of hazards and saves lives. The commissioning of this regional emergency shelter at Jimmit is another major milestone for the disaster management system of Dominica. Indeed, I am honored to be afforded the opportunity to be part of this momentous occasion this afternoon. One cannot help but feel a sense of accomplishment when the hard work of all collaborating partners has come to fruition. It is even more heartwarming to know that this facility will provide the people of Jimmit and environs, including vulnerable persons, to the means of shelter in dignity. I would like to thank everyone here today for their contributions and dedication to making this project a reality. Allow me to thank in a special way the illustrious Cicero singers for their splendid performances this afternoon. Thanks to Monsignor Eustace Thomas for offering prayers and blessings for this event. Thanks to the President of Dominica, His Excellency Charles Savre and Mrs. Savre for taking time to support this occasion. Thanks to the Permanent Secretary of the National Security and Home Affairs, Ms. Joanne Commodore, for her welcome remarks, for providing astute guidance to the ODM as beneficiaries of this project. A very special thank you to the donor, the European Union, for funding this major project. Thank you, Madam Ambassador, for capturing the vision and partnering with Dominica on the journey to building resilience. I must also thank the Minister for National Security and Home Affairs, the Honorable Rayburn Blackmore, who is also responsible